What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rogues Passage podcast. I'm Tanner Cherry, and tonight it's a gift. I am joined by my wonderful wife.
I am a gift.
Who are you?
I am Caliuga. I have been kind of in the background, behind the scenes for many a moon as this project has been going, giving support to the homies and working on a couple of side projects.
Yeah, Wooburger is the cooking show that we've been working on. We have been talking about it, but it's a labor of love. It's a thing that we will be debuting soon. But tonight, it's late. It's like we went for a nice sushi dinner. Mother's Day is tomorrow. But tonight we want to talk about Final Fantasy. I have been trying for I guess literally months.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we've been having this idea of wanting to get into the studio and talk about this upcoming set, which is absolutely monumental. I mean, in regards to MTG, like hybrid crossing with Final Fantasy, I think it is the biggest thing that this game will ever see. And yeah, like I happen to be married to an absolute degenerate weeb of Final Fantasy.
I don't know how embarrassing and like deep I want to go with this. I mean, like in terms of cosplay, like I did Cloud, hence where. So this was my first attempt at a wig, and I've come a long way since then. Like it could use a little bit of love. It's a little bit of fluffy. I've done Riku in the past. I actually I'm gonna do the thing.
She's got to show the fresh sleeves.
I just have to take off my shirt. Oh, okay, it's fresh. It's really fresh. I don't know if the camera's gonna be able to see it. Should I go up to the camera?
The focus is on manual, so it's not
okay.
gonna show.
So I'm just gonna try up here. I'm gonna do this close to the mic. Up here, we got.
Yes. Here, I'll narrate. This is Genova. And we got Sephiroth.
And then this.
And we got Cloud. Fresh.
Added. It hurts.
3 days ago.
This
2 days ago.
2 days ago. This part right here. Let me get back down here. This part right here, I almost threw up. I'm not even joking. Joking.
You're not even joking.
I ain't even joking. I almost threw up and passed out for the inner armpit. It was not enjoyable, but
yeah. So what I was getting at was that we've been trying to get into the studio and record a podcast together because we've been talking about this so much together about trying to predict what the characters may be templated as in regards to their color identity in the world of Magic the Gathering and the color philosophy. And it has been such an invigorating conversation, but it's really difficult. I mean, we
have a child and
we're breeders.
lives.
We're breeders. we have a child and usually one of us is watching the child while one of us is like, well, I'm here doing this. So it's tough, that's why tonight we're down in the studio. It's like almost midnight, but we were upstairs in the computer room looking. I was trying to show her some of the cards that came out today on the weekly MTG podcast. And man, it's been a struggle to be like, dude, we got to get down and talk about this before it's too late.
Well, and even half the time that we do, like when we do end up getting into deep discussion about it, it's like, man, like we got to pause. We got to save this. We got to save this for the thing and like not get too deep into it. And then,
and that happened upstairs. I was like, yo, I want to show you the new mono white Cloud. And she's like, no, let's just go down and record this.
Cloud is mono white on that one.
So this episode today, we're going to sit down. We're going to probably talk about, I don't know, maybe should we do predictions first and then talk about the cards that have been spoiled or?
Yeah, I mean, like let's do predictions as we predicted them because obviously things have been spoiled and certain perspectives have been changed along the way.
Well, for instance, I'll start this off by mentioning there was the Commander decks, I believe, were revealed first, and there was 2 versions of Cloud, 1 version of Sephiroth, I think. There was.
I remember talking about it. Like Sephiroth's color dynamic made sense to me as blue-black, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's very, very knowledge-based, very like very intelligent, but also like dark and like does not like Black's identity is very like propelling yourself at the expense of others or sacrificing others to gain things.
Yeah. And I think, let me preface this by like, I am in no way like an ultimate aficionado of like all of the 16 Final Fantasies
check your watch.
that have been released. I started with 7. I played my way through pretty much all of them since then, except for like 11, which was like the first MMO like 7, as you can see here, probably 7 was like my main like hardcore thing. So that was the one, like that's the one that like I get super passionate talking about with you. But then, you know, like there's other things that like I was super into 14 online for a really, really long time. So like Y'shtola and stuff like that coming out was like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah, let me tell you about how many dollars we've
can we swear?
to Square Enix. Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, like Final Fantasy 14 is a money bank for that company. They charge,
Squeenix took a lot of our money.
It's quite similar to the World of Warcraft situation where, I mean, a monthly subscription means that person's paying what? Hundreds of dollars a year to play the game?
The Final Fantasy 14 online subscription from US to Canadian dollars was like $35 a month.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I ever fully disclosed that information, but it was worth it. Especially the months at the very end where I kind of tapped out of it and
still paid for
it.
Yeah. Okay. So sitting here at the podcast table in the studio today is one person that is slanted more towards the Magic the Gathering world with a little bit of Final Fantasy background, and one person that is slanted way more to the Final Fantasy world with a little bit of Magic the Gathering background. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to talk about this together. Like what I was trying to talk about before was that Cloud that was released with the Commander decks. I was a little taken aback by initially that he had green in his color identity.
Yeah.
I pegged Cloud as a very solid red-white, like mostly white, but I could see red. And then when I saw green, I was like, wait a minute, what the heck? And well, just to finish this point, I want to give a shout out to Jordan because one day we were over here. Actually, it was for the Dragonstorm episode that we recorded, and I had a chat with him about it. And he was like, no, actually green makes sense because if you think about certain cards displaying certain periods in their character identity, being a part of Avalanche is very green.
Yeah.
It's very like it's standing up for the planet and like fighting against drawing the resources of the planet irresponsibly. So that is very green. And I was like, man, that's a good point.
So it took us having that conversation because like, I'm trying to remember when we first started talking about this because I think you asked me like, what do you think Cloud's colors would be? And it took me a minute, and like I'm actually kind of glad I don't remember this conversation now because I'm trying to draw back on that because Cloud to me is for sure white, like very
soldier,
very justice based. Like he
follows orders.
He follows orders, but also does what he believes is good.
Yeah.
I did clock at least a little bit of black in him, just like with like Mako poisoning and you know the way that he like reacts with like PTSD to certain things.
Interesting.
I didn't initially clock him as red, but it does make sense.
Yeah, actually, like the reason I say red is probably like a smaller part of his color identity is because red is very passion, very like impulsive, and Cloud has never been impulsive.
Yeah,
he's very calculated.
Yeah, but then yeah, like same thing. Like as soon as green was introduced to his color identity, I was like, fucking why?
Yeah, I think the first suggestion you said was because of his relationship with Aerith.
Well, because of his relationship with Aerith, and also like just like the way that the game works and like with materia and you know like elementals and being able to cast magic and stuff like that, but that's also like more so coming from my background of how the game works and not necessarily how like the green in Magic works.
Yeah, and
because Aerith for me is absolutely like white green.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
Like and if anything was going to add green to Cloud, it would be what happens in his lore and in his timeline to Aerith that would introduce green to that.
Now, there's another factor here that I have to give reverence to that explains why there may be some I don't know, not misrepresentation, but like stretching representation. It is the fact that they are adapting this intellectual property to a fundamentally structure-built game. And not only that, but like this game, like I think we've seen 3 versions of Cloud. It is, as we saw with Lord of the Rings, it's completely redundant to give 3 different mono white versions of Cloud. So there's like an incentive to provide, especially with Commander being the biggest format that anybody's playing, the ability to create a legendary creature with different color spreads and color identities. So for them to be like, we want to make a single color cloud, we want to make a dual color cloud, and we want to make a 3 color cloud. Those are like research and development requirements, and then they find a way to fit that.
Are they not working with like people on the inside sort of thing?
Oh yes, they are.
Yeah, like they would have to be, right?
Yes,
Where it's like does this make sense with the lore?
There's one guy, I don't know, I'll put his name on screen right now, but he's somebody that works with Square Enix, and he's a very, very big Magic the Gathering fan, and he was one of the primary consultants. He wasn't the only one, right? There was multiple. And not only that, there's people that work at Wizards of the Coast in Seattle that are very, very big Final Fantasy fans. And I know Gavin, he's like a big Final Fantasy nerd. Like there's people, all these people were collaborating in rooms together. And actually, I woke up this morning, I was watching on TV with Luca until he told me to turn my show off. I was watching the weekly MTG, the panel where they were standing on stage and they were like, yeah, let's show a bunch more new cards and stuff. And they actually brought up guests from the crowd, lined them up in 2 different teams, and they made them guess like Final Fantasy facts and like Magic facts.
What were some of the facts? Do you remember?
There was one that, some of them were
the trivia.
Some of them were MTG related, being like how many cards have the word sword in them, but like some of them were, I can't remember the relation. Oh no, sorry. There was some straight Final Fantasy questions saying how many times has like a certain character appeared in a game.
What, Sid?
Yeah. I don't believe it was Sid. I think it was the word black mage or something, or if like a specifically black mage was appeared, and like the guest or the crowd had to guess these answers. But anyway, like what I'm getting at is that they were showing like the people that designed the set, people that were, there was one guy on stage that was like, hey, I pitched this version of this card for this character. It was, I think it was one of the characters that, like from a game that he's like a traitor or whatever. And like, he was the one that pitched the mechanic, like, hey, what if like every time you attacked with him, he defects to another player and then that player gets to use it. And then he defects to another player. And like that ended up getting accepted and printed as the final version. And they were like congratulating him, being like, yeah, this is actually his first Magic card that he's got to print. And it was for one of his childhood favorite characters. And like, so the people involved in both of these companies and in departments, like this is one of the greatest moments of their lives, and they're all having so much fun with it. And even I saw the weekly MTG panel that they did with this for the Fallout like development, and the people that did the Fallout set were like obsessed with Fallout, and they paid such reverence to the source material. Yeah. And man, it like I teared up a couple times this morning listening to everybody talk about all these cool cards and like
bitch.
My wife, everybody. My wife. It's really cool. And yeah, sorry if we're just like ranting. We've had a couple drinks and we just want to talk about Final Fantasy cards. And this is so exciting. I had a moment today where I was thinking about like, this is what it feels like when 2 worlds collide, when like 2 things that you care about so much. And like, this is a one-time thing. What we're experiencing right now as people that are in love with both franchises, this moment will never happen again, right? This is very, very special.
Well, and like this is something that we've been talking about for a long time, because like as soon as it got announced, like I've been kind of in the background for a long time, just like supporting silently from the shadows,
propping me up.
But like as soon as this got announced, it was like, excuse me, what the fuck? And it's just blossomed into this whole big crazy thing, and just like the conversations that we've had about it and everything. And I let's get into guessing.
Okay, but right before we get into guessing, I don't know if I've told you this, but there was one really cool fact about when they did this particular like collaboration with Lord of the Rings, and it broke all the records by far for sales. It crushed everything they've ever done. Like, this is like Lord of the Rings was the best selling set of Magic the Gathering.
Was it the One Ring thing?
That was a contributing factor, but it was also
excuse me.
It was also the whole thing. It was like tapping into an entire different like community.
Right.
So that was a little while after Lord of the Rings came out. They were like, this is the best selling set of all time, and it's going to be hard to beat. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks ago, Hasbro announced that pre-orders of Final Fantasy beat Lord of the Rings before they've even started previewing the cards. They've sold more Final Fantasy than they ever did on Lord of the Rings.
Okay, wait. You know what's kind of so funny about that idea? Because like so realistically, so we just did a con. We did Calgary Expo a couple of weeks ago, and I think the spread of Final Fantasy, like quote unquote fans, is so funny. This is kind of an off tangent, by the way. I think the spread of like quote unquote Final Fantasy fans is so funny because like I was wearing Vi, but yes, I paid way too much money for this jacket. But Tanner was wearing the Cloud that I had worn for a few years before, and it's funny because like there are kids that will come up and be like, "Oh my god, like Cloud, that's so cool! You look so awesome!" And you're like, "Oh my god, like." There's no way that you know what this IP is. There's no way. Like, you're way too young, and like it gives you so much hope for the next generation, sort of thing. Like, oh, like the kids are all right, and then you're just like, oh yeah, hell yeah, and then all of a sudden they're just like, can you do the Super Smash Bros pose? And you're like,
yeah, it's like, oh right, so that's like, where you know Cloud from.
I actually wonder like how much of this spread. So because like Lord of the Rings is a like massive IP, massive franchise. And so like for Final Fantasy to outspread or like outbid that, I guess in a way.
Well, like by leaps and bounds, like we're talking.
But it's also like, I guess also like the Final Fantasy community is also consistently at odds with each other of like, which one is the best? And it's like, oh, if you love 7, then you're this type of person. Or if you love 10, then you're a... I'm not going to say that word that gets said online, but there are certain people who like certain things. I love 10, so I'm
so
can't
curious what word you were thinking of right now.
Certain people think certain things are some type of way, and it's like none of the community can ever come together and agree that just like Final Fantasy in and of itself as this like legendary intellectual property, and the fact that so many stories have been written in such excruciating detail, and all of them are so significant and amazing and mind from thank you from the Final Fantasies that I have played, you know, from 7 onward, and well, I started playing 6. I think I got about like a quarter of the way through 6. I just, to be fair, I kind of struggle with pixelated graphics, and you call me a fucking shitty millennial or something, but
6 remaster when?
But regardless, it's a fact. And actually, you kind of make fun of this all the time, where it's just like it's supposed to be the Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's a dad joke of Final Fantasy, really. You
are a dad.
Yeah.
But anyways,
yeah.
They all do have like really incredible, really in-depth, deep stories, and it's this IP that has the ability to reach such a vast audience, whereas like where you compare it to something like Lord of the Rings, where it is just like this one category of fantasy that really targets this not necessarily niche market, but potentially niche-er market.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's kind of wild because like Lord of the Rings is probably... It's...
Elder?
Well, what I'm saying is that it's like... how many decades, right? It's been around, but there's only so much source material in that many decades.
When did the first Final Fantasy?
Final Fantasy would have been PlayStation. No, sorry.
The first one was no.
It was before. It was PS1, wasn't it?
No.
Anyway, I believe like Gran Turismo is celebrating its 15th anniversary soon, so like that was PS1. So it can't be much further back than that. Like what platform was it? Atari? Like I'm pretty sure it was. We're doing some live Googling. My point, though, is that in the span of 15 years, or let's say it's 18 or something, the amount of content that's been put out, the amount of different stories that have been put out is massive compared to what Lord of the Rings has done.
Yeah.
So the culture, I think, has so much more to latch onto.
1987.
On what platform?
NES.
Oh, wait. Yeah, it came out on NES first? Now it's a PlayStation exclusive?
Mm-hmm.
What?
It was later released in North America in May 1990.
Okay, so 1990, that's 25 years. Anyway, we're getting way into the weeds. You tried to steer us into the predictions. We should get into this.
Yes.
So I know that there's like a lot of like very mainline, like main characters that are really fun to talk about. One thing that when I showed you the first card it's one of the commander decks for Y'shtola from Final Fantasy 14. I remember you were just like furious that she had black in her color identity.
Okay, so the length at which I played through 14 online. Sorry, there's a cat meowing.
Kitty mew.
Feverishly. The length at which I played 14 online, I played for a number of years. I got to the point where Y'shtola, she does become darker, and she gets her darker, and also it's been a long time since I've played, so like the actual story is a little bit further in my mind than I would like to admit. I would love to get back into it, but again, it's fucking expensive. She does become like she was always more of the black mage of.
You said she was specifically a black mage, right?
Yeah, she is, but like it's just like she has
But black mage in Final Fantasy means something different.
Well, it's not it's hard to explain because like black mage in Final Fantasy is that you just use a different style of magic than a white mage. A white mage is your healer, your buffer, your cures, your protects. The fluffer, yes, you're the fluffer, right? And the black mages have, the firepower, the elemental power, your fire, your lightning, your wind, your ultima, like your magic energy that is used mainly for like DPS style attacks.
So what is a black mage? Is it like necromancy?
No, not at all.
What kind of magic does a black mage cast?
Black mage versus white mage. White mage is the healer. White mage is the cleric. Black mage is the, I guess, wizard or warlock. Just
more like a warlock, I guess. Because like an eldritch blast or
it's conjuring specifically elemental magic to do damage. White mage is more like Yuna in Final Fantasy X, like the summoner, the bringer of life, the giver of hope, the Aerith. Aerith is not. I wouldn't say she's necessarily
a sorcerer, right?
In Final Fantasy VII, there aren't really any categorized anything. Aerith would probably be considered the white mage of the party because she's
the healer.
Well, you don't have to build her as the healer, but she is geared towards you should probably build her as the healer, right? Like she starts with all of those platforms.
Yeah.
The God, who would even be the black mage in 7? 7 has so many characters that it's like
true. What about what's her name? It's not Luna.
Lulu
from 10?
black mage. Lulu black mage for sure.
And you know what? I played 10 and I can't remember.
That was the first time you ever jacked off.
Now, I can't remember like a single spell that I would have cast with Lulu in that game. Like that was, I had a PlayStation 2 and I bought that game. That was my first.
That game
Final
looked
Fantasy
so
title.
good back then, and I've replayed through it like somewhat recently. It's like, man, this looks like shit.
Yeah, but back then it was fire.
It was. Well, GoldenEye was fire when it first came out too.
Yeah. So we're going to start to see all of the magic representations of all these cards, and we have seen some of these representations, and some of the ones that we got today, I know that you're going to squee. Actually, you were popping off messaging me. I'm driving to go get our travel trailer, and you're popping off. You're like, bro, the card they made for Sid.
Well, okay, because so like he's been blasting off to me, just being like, oh, like all of these cards are getting spoiled and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, you know, I'm like, okay, yeah, like it's just like I know the set is coming out. I'm super excited. I don't really want that many spoilers, but then of course I'm also involved in, you know, these Final Fantasy groups like online and on socials and stuff, and so of course as soon as they start spoiling things, then it's like, okay, now I'm invested.
I don't care when you tell me. I care when they tell me. Tanner. Yeah, so do we want to just like start talking about specific cards?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Let's bring up I got to get this working here. Okay, we got some cards up finally. It's going to be tough with this sexy Buster Sword you built.
Thank you. We built.
Yeah, we built. It was a collaborative effort.
Did it.
We did it. So we have cards here. Now, it's going to be difficult because there's so many cards to talk about now.
Okay, pick one and then zoom in on it because I don't want...
Jeez, like, how do I pick? What was it that I was going to look at? We were going to look at Sid. We can just talk about Sid right now. I'll find it.
Well, okay, I'll start on a bit of a tangent. So I was at work today, and the entirety of the Sid catalog came out, and
catalog.
Well, because there is legit like that's really the only way that you can categorize it is a catalog of Sids, because for everybody that's in the know, there is a Sid for every Final Fantasy except apparently in 11, which I did not play, but that was the first MMO.
There it is. Boom.
And it's funny because every Final Fantasy has a Sid, but they're all incredibly different. But they're all like kind of the same. They're all like the general. How do you word it?
Is there something to this character that speaks towards like an actual entity that spans multiple universes?
No, I mean, well,
that would be too smart.
No, it's yes and no, because like the Sid in Final Fantasy is always like the builder, the not the mechanic. Like, okay, in 7 he's like the crazy airship dude. In 14 he's the one that gives you your first piece of mech armor. Like, it's
so Artificer.
Artificer is very, very, very like an incredible classification. One thing that I do want to mention is the fact that the version of Sid that they put out for Final Fantasy VIII, they hugely missed the mark for doing it in the way that they did and not made him in his... Oh God, I'm gonna fuck this up because I have been drinking and I can't remember. So basically in Final Fantasy...
Passage after dark.
Basically in Final Fantasy VIII, Sid gets turned into a like weird little creature thing. Sorry, it's Final Fantasy IX. I got them confused. Final Fantasy IX, Sid turns into an Oglop, and they definitely missed a beat by not referring to that.
Well, does he only appear as an Oglop?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know this character enough, but like you were popping off in a couple text messages to me today being like, "Oh my God, like a deck can have any number of cards named Sid." And
well, and also so sorry, what does it say again? Artifact creatures and heroes you control get +1/+1 for each artificer you control and each artificer card in your graveyard. And a deck can have any number of cards named Sid, Timeless Artificer. So you can have, there's 15 of them that were released.
Yeah, which is kind of akin to the Nazgul from Lord of the Rings, where they had, that was one card, but they had 9 different arts, which I think they're like $15 or $20 each. Like for people that want to collect all of them.
Yeah, but there's 15 Sids.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Like I do love the fact that they did that. It's funny when you texted me that, I was just like, "What's the joke? What? I don't get it."
It's like, no, this is funny as shit. This is the meme, and also the fact that he's white blue is, I would say, very accurate.
Yep.
Very very sciencey, very just dude. In like throughout the realms of Final Fantasy.
Yeah. So these, I know you probably don't know the impact of this, but they shifted this year to make these universes beyond. What Universes Beyond is like the tag that they give to when they cross IP with something. But now instead of
like Alien versus Predator kind of thing,
sort of. But now, like those used to be like sets they would release that might like they may be like Modern Legal or something, or like it's command. But no, this is like now the standard pipeline. The main sets coming out in the main pipeline of Magic, legal in all sets this year. Final Fantasy is one of those, and they're like, we're gonna get Spider-Man too. Like man, there's a whole other podcast to get into the Spider-Man.
I feel like
stuff.
it'd be so weird to just be like playing a Final Fantasy deck versus a Spider-Man. Like I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah,
I got like my version of nerd, and other people have their versions of nerd, and I guess it's nice to like bring that version of fandom together in one way or another.
It's Fortnite,
but also it's just Wizards of the Coast being.
Well, it's the best-selling set of all time, right? Like as if it's not an incredibly good business decision. Anyway, so Sid, super cool card. They're literally like I'm on Scryfall. I'm on Scryfall now. There's so many things to talk about. we did finally get a peek at some serialized cards, or one today, which my personal call out, or like my guess, I think I've said on the podcast before, was that I did believe that the Buster Sword was going to be a serialized card. We did get a preview today of the Buster Sword with no text in the text box. They just showed the art and the mana cost. So, but they did show a serialized card, and it's the Traveling Chocobo. I guess we should just talk about that.
Show me, baby.
Yeah. This card is actually like crazy busted. I'll show Callie here.
You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play lands and cast bird spells from the top of your library. If a land or bird you control entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time.
Yeah, so if a land comes in and does something, it does it twice. And if a bird comes in and does something, it does it twice. But also the serialized version, I'll put the images on screen here right now. They showed the digital image, and this was kind of the same thing with Aether Drift, where they showed the digital image of the first placed foils, and they looked like Pokemon cards because it was just like, oh, it's got like a yellow border. What the fuck? But then they were like, no, check it out. And then they showed like an image of it in real life, and it's like a trophy gold. It's like gold.
Dude, to get the golden chocobo.
No, so what I'm saying is that the serialized version of this chocobo, not only is it gold, it's textless. So it's just like a sick gold chocobo with no text on the card. And it's gold.
It's gold.
It's like, it looks like it's made from like McLaren F1 solid plated gold.
Yeah, I bet that gold chocobo goes faster than a McLaren F1. For the record,
it goes
you can quote
hard. It's beautiful, and it's said usually the serialized cards, they show how many they're going to print of those particular versions, and it said 77. So I assume that says to me that this is the Final Fantasy VII serialized. It says to me that there's going to be more. I can't see them doing just Traveling Chocobo. If there is a serialized Buster Sword, then like people are going to kill each other trying to get them.
I might be one of them.
The Lord of the Rings thing, the One Ring, it was the only serialized card in the entire set, and there was only one of them, and it was very thematic because it's the One Ring, right? It was super sick, and I was like, they're never going to be able to do this again. And I know, well, actually, no, sorry. It was not the only serialized card in the set. There was the Elvish text and Dwarven text Soul Rings and stuff. And the cool thing that they did with that was that the Dwarven Soul Rings were one of 600 or whatever, because there was 6 rings given to dwarves, and then there was 900 of the elvish ones because there was 9 rings given to elves. Sorry if I'm wrong on the numbers on that. I'm not a Lord of the Rings aficionado, but like there was a very thematic reason why they chose the number of how many of those serialized versions there were. So 77 of the chocobos says to me that that's maybe like focusing on the number 7. I think there may be like a different card that is serialized that there'll be 66 of.
I mean, there's chocobos in more than just 7 though. So
I know, yeah, but like it might be specifically like this is a Final Fantasy VII serialized card, and
the golden chocobo was a Final Fantasy VII thing, as far as I know.
Yeah,
for the Final Fantasies that I have played.
Yeah, so who knows? We only have so much right now, but we're sitting here talking about chocobos where we could be talking about all of the other epic stuff.
We're doing a lot of work right now.
Oh my God.
We're working really hard.
That was so good. Okay,
I've literally been holding on to that this entire time.
Let's talk about Clive for a second.
Oh, can we please?
Yeah, let's talk about Clive. This is
okay.
Final Fantasy.
Do you want to talk about him first before I look at him?
He's so pretty. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna describe him to you. This will be like ASMR. Clive.
Do it. You gotta get your chocolatey voice really close to the mic.
Clive, Ifrit's dominant.
Ooh, say red. Dominant again.
It's 4 red. He's a human noble warrior. When Clive enters, you may discard your hand, then draw cards equal to your devotion to red. He's got a 4 red tap ability, exile Clive, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control.
What does he transform into?
Guess.
Ifrit?
Fucking right.
Sorry, Ifrit?
Yeah,
So I've been saying, apparently I've been saying it wrong for
checks watch again.
20 years?
So this is the cool thing, is that Clive is a flip card that transforms into Ifrit.
See, all of that makes sense.
Yeah.
That is the most... Show him to me.
All right.
Show him to me.
Ifrit,
Show me, Daddy.
Warden of the Inferno. So it is a saga, which all of the summons are templated as sagas because they come in, they do their thing for a few turns, and then they leave, just like the trigger.
summon
as is the game. But the cool thing about these sagas, normally sagas are enchantments, and they do their thing until they leave. But in Final Fantasy, they were like, what if we made the sagas creatures? So they come in, they do their things, but you can also attack and block with them because they're creatures, and then they leave.
That's so cool.
So Ifrit is a 9/9 saga demon. His chapter 1 is Lunge. Ifrit fights up to one other target creature. And then for chapter 2 and 3 is Brimstone. Add 4 red mana. If Ifrit has 3 or more lore counters on it, exile it, then return it to the battlefield. So for 2 turns, it's going to ramp you by 4 mana, and then he's going to flip back into Clive. Like, this card is so cool.
That card is so hot. Wait, show me Clive, though. You show me Clive. Daddy? Daddy, chill.
Yeah, Clive is sick. But, like, also...
Can I just go off on a side tangent for a second? I remember when Final Fantasy 16 first got announced, and I don't know what it was with my brain, but when
that initial trailer?
But when they were just like, his name is Clive.
Yeah, it's Clive. Hey, it's Chad from Final Fantasy 16.
Hey, what up? What up, YouTube? It's Chad from Final Fantasy 16.
What's up, YouTube?
But then, like, it's so funny because, to be fair, like, you can look at Cloud as an equally stupid fucking name.
No, Cloud's a pretty cool weeby name. Right?
Okay.
It's not like Paul.
Paul's a good name for a cat.
It is.
No, but I just like it. In terms of, because Final Fantasy, God, this is one that I have purposefully forgotten about and can barely remember the name of because it tanked so badly. It was something of Paradise. Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise. This is one that I have purposefully forgotten about because when they first announced it, and like, I am a sucker for character design, and especially my very JRPG styled character designs. And when they announced Stranger of Paradise, I'm pretty sure I was watching like some sort of like E-Game Awards or you know, something along those lines. And, you know, they're getting into the characters, and it's just like this super buff, like blonde, short, army cut hair, white looking dude named Jack. And I was like, that ain't it. That ain't it. And then the other characters are Jack, Jed, Sophia, Ash, and Neon. And I was like, okay, like maybe Neon could pull through.
Sounds like a Street Fighter game.
That's what I'm saying. It just, yeah, it didn't do any justices. And so that was announced before 16 was announced. And then when 16 was announced, it was like, oh yeah, Clive. But then Clive turned out to be a total badass. Now I feel like if some dude were to come up to me and be like, my name's Clive, I'd be like, hey.
I have a bias. All right. I want to talk about Sephiroth because
Let's talk about Sephiroth.
Let's talk about Sephiroth. We did get a Dimir Sephiroth, which was pretty badass, but it's also like a 6 mana card. And it does a cool thing, but this one that I want to talk about that was revealed today is the mother effing one-winged angel. This is the Sephiroth that we were
Is he still black
for.
blue?
No, he's black.
Oh no, wait, was the first one black blue?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this one is mono black. He's just full of hate.
He should be mono. Well, no, yeah, he definitely going back to like predicting like color combinations and stuff as we first were way back. Like that was
post tantrum. He's definitely dropped the blue.
Yeah.
He's no longer
post tantrum.
He's no longer bothered by gathering information. He knows everything. At least that's what he thinks.
Yeah.
Right. So this is Sephiroth, Fabled Soldier, 2 and a black, legendary creature, human avatar soldier. Whenever he enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. Kind of reminds me of Korvold, but for 3 mana. Whenever another creature dies, target opponent loses a life and you gain a life. If this is the 4th time this ability has resolved this turn, transform him. So you want to just be and then oh god, this art. Oh, actually, what I'd like to point out, I'll put it on screen here. Sephiroth, One-Winged Angel, and the front side of the card. it's a vertical panorama. So you can see at the bottom here, the bottom of One Winged Angel has the little top tip. Oh, here. Yeah, it has the top tip of this card here. So it's a vertical like panorama. And the backside says, he's a 5/5 flyer. As this creature transforms into Sephiroth One Winged Angel, you get an emblem with whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses life and you gain a life. So it has the Blood Artist Trigger emblem, which is sick. And then whenever he attacks, you may sacrifice any number of other creatures if you do draw that many cards. That is so Sephiroth to me. Just like slaughter everything. And
no fucks given.
Like this card is going to be nutty because like the trigger is whenever a creature dies. So
whenever another creature dies, yeah.
Whenever a creature dies. So if you wipe the board, if you play any sort of board wipe, you flip him over into this insane 5/5 flyer that gives you an emblem.
That would flip so quickly, like especially in a game of Commander.
Yeah, well, even in Standard. Like this is going to be in Standard. It's a card that you can build around. And whenever he attacks, you sacrifice any number of creatures if you do draw that many cards. Like it's all about Sephiroth. It's
like, always been all about Sephiroth.
It's so cool. Like I love what they're doing. I love the way that like Magic R&D can template the abilities of this gameplay state to really like reflect what somebody represents. And the art. Oh, Tetsuya Nomura. Oh, and also Yoshitaka Amano has been doing a ton of art. He did on the weekly MTG. He did this. Let's talk about Kefka.
Let's talk about Kefka.
He did this piece of art for Kefka, and he said that like he was talking about how when he did this piece of art, he was like, I wanted to do something that was like maybe a little bit outside of my bounds because of what Kefka represents or whatever. Like he was like, I just wanted to paint with no rules, and it's so beautiful watching the artist. It's really
what
like
does he transform into?
Well, okay, let's talk about the front side. So this is Kefka, Court Mage. It is a 5-mana Grixis legendary creature. 2 generic, blue, black, red, human wizard. When he enters or attacks, each player discards a card, then you draw a card for each card type among cards discarded this way. So that's rude. It's very efficient. It's very Grixis. And then for 8 colorless mana, each opponent sacrifices a permanent of their choice and transform him. And he turns into Kefka, Ruler of Ruin. And yeah, like Yoshitaka was talking about like enshrouding him in fire in this and everything. And yeah, he's a 5/7 flyer that whenever an opponent loses life during your turn, draw that many cards.
I am so happy to hear you talk about this because like before we started recording, we were like, I was asking, I was like, they have to be talking with people on the inside.
Oh, yeah, no, I will note actually, this is a really cool thing about this is that this has been cooking in the oven for like 5 to 6 years. They started this journey making all these cards 5.5 years ago. And they've been so quiet about it.
I am so glad that it is being done justice because I feel like, you know,
that was the pandemic era. Like that was when they started this.
Oh, was it that long?
Oh,
that was such a time warp.
Word.
That was such a time warp. I feel like as soon as one thing takes on another thing's IP, let's call a spade here, for the purposes of making money outside of your realm of your general audience, it really can go one way or the other. And you're kind of playing with fire because like as one owner of one IP trying to do justice for the entire group of a fandom of multiple different IPs, like you better damn well hope you do it properly.
Yeah,
because you're gonna have
fandoms are vicious.
Trust.
You're
gonna have a large group of people coming after you, and like especially when it comes to the concept of like just general nerddom in general, because like us as nerds, like most people don't nerd out about just one general thing. It's like, Magic and Final Fantasy and, like most people don't have just like one solid thing unless you're, I don't know, I guess just super into one thing. I don't know what kind of point I'm trying to make. Most nerds are super nerdy about like at least a couple of things is the point I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Well, this was an easy sell.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy and Magic the Gathering was an easy sell. It is the biggest thing that Magic has ever experienced. Man, like Kefka's a sick card. Oh, I got to go back a number of pages because I was clicking all the different arts. All right, Lightning Army of One. I want to say that like most of my experience talking or like experiencing Final Fantasy has been watching my wife play these games as opposed to me actually playing them. So I know that this was it's Final Fantasy 13. Lightning was I remember you were quite in love with this character. This was a great character.
I mean, I was in love with her, but like the game in and of itself kind of pissed me off.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were like kind of choked.
So like first of all, like her being red white definitely makes sense. First straight trample lifelink makes sense. I ended up playing through it. It was 1 or 2 years after it came out, and I was warned that it wasn't going to be everything that I had hyped it up to be. The story didn't make a lot of sense. It was very hallway-ish.
Interesting adjective.
I mean, if you can just imagine playing an RPG through a hallway that just directs you exactly.
Oh, okay, I see. On rails.
Yeah. Like very, very on the rails. Like to the point where like I honestly look back and I don't remember a lot of the story. And this was back like I was.
Yeah, what year was that?
I was working at Boston Pizza with Mateo.
Oh God, that's over a
Crescent
decade ago.
Heights.
Yeah, that was like 2012.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Let's read the card here. It's one red and a white for a first strike, trample, lifelink, 3/2. The ability is called Stagger. Whenever lightning deals combat damage to a player until your next turn, if a source would deal damage to that player or a permanent that player controls deals double that damage instead. So, wait, whenever they deal combat damage. Whenever lightning deals combat damage until your next turn. So, like everything that you do in your second main phase would be doubled. That's kind of an interesting template.
So, I'm trying to figure out how that works with my...
Well, what it means is like you go to combat and like you basically have to get to the point where lightning has dealt damage. And if lightning deals damage, then the trigger goes up where until your next turn, if a source... Oh, so I guess it... Even when you pass the turn to other players, all of your stuff would deal double damage until your next turn. So it kind of like nukes your board into this like huge buffed state. But or anything like if you were to cast a fireball in your second main phase, it would deal double or something, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. Good job, Lightning.
Good job, Lightning.
Good job. Oh my God, there's so many cards to think about here. What do we want to look at next? The Moogle. Well, the Moogle was one of the ones that was. Oh shoot, we got an Aerith. Can we do Aerith? We got Aerith Gainsborough. Okay. See, look at this beautiful art.
Look at her.
Look at this beautiful art.
2 white, straight up. Let's go.
Yep.
Human cleric makes sense.
2 and a white, lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on her. And whenever Aerith dies, put X 1/1 counters on each legendary creature you control, where X is the number of counters on her. So,
That is legendary.
Oh, it hurts. I can feel the sword going through my back right now.
She literally, I mean, like lore-wise, like what her death does to the rest of the gang, to the rest of Avalanche and the gang is basically why everything happens.
You know what? I'm just going to put a photo on screen here of me dressed as Aerith. We went as like gender bender Final Fantasy thing for one like Halloween. I feel like I made a fantastic Aerith.
He was a beautiful Aerith. You honestly, you couldn't tell the difference.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
This is great. Like the fact that like when she dies,
everybody gets pissed.
Rip. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, the Moogle. I don't know. I think there was only one Moogle that was. It was a legendary Moogle.
Is there a Vincent?
There might be. There's so many cards. There's a Noctis.
I honestly, I didn't care much for 15, and that might be on me just because that was kind of my first experience of like so much to do on the outside of the main storyline. I guess like aside from 14, but 14 was like specifically an MMO where you run around and you do whatever the hell you want. But it was like you had the option to do all of these side quests. but they weren't worth enough experience-wise that you could not defeat the final boss without doing most of them. And I kind of plowed through it in a week and forget it.
I'm just going to pivot here. I want to talk about Y'shtola.
Of course you do.
Y'shtola is great, but we got another version today, a mono blue. An absolute homewrecker. Cat Druid.
Warning attained.
4 blue. It's a 6 mana legendary creature. At the beginning of your end step, exile target creature you control and return it to the battlefield under show control. So you get like a Conjurer's Closet flicker for one of your creatures. But then if it's the first end step of the turn, there's an additional end step after this step. I want to talk about the relationship that Y'shtola has with my boy Agent of Treachery, this amazing rogue card in Magic. It is a 7-drop blue creature that says when it enters the battlefield, gain control of target permanent. Mm-hmm. So it's rogue in addition to other types. It's amazing. But it also says that at the beginning of your end step, if you control 3 permanents you don't own, draw 3 cards. So what this does is you get to play Agent of Treachery, gain control of a permanent. And then at the end step, you get to flicker it. It comes back into the battlefield, gain control of another permanent. And if you happen to have control of any other permanent of somebody's, you get 2 end steps, which would draw 3 cards twice.
That's dummy.
Off of Agent of Treachery.
That's dummy thick. That's dummy thick.
You're just going to take everybody's shit and also draw 6 cards. Like, man, I want to build both of the Y'shtola decks. I've already got lined up with Jordan to do a live deck brew for the Esper Y'shtola.
Let it be known Tanner has a thing for Y'shtola. Insert clip of us running into a Y'shtola at the con here.
Oh, yeah, right.
And him getting super stoked.
Yeah, actually, no, I decided in that moment that like in to carry on the legacy of the Genderbender stuff, I want to do a Y'shtola cosplay.
It will be done.
Coming soon to the Rogue Passage. Yeah, this card's sick. I really love this card and I can't wait to play it. Let's check out another card. We've got Primal. We got another summon. Let's talk about another summon. Primal Odin.
Odin!
Yeah. Odin! So Odin is a 4 black summon. Chapter 1 is destroy target creature and opponent controls. Chapter 2 is this creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game.
I mean, that's okay. Well, wait, what's chapter 3 after that, though?
It's called Hall of Sorrow. Draw 2 cards. Each player loses 2 life.
Wait.
Right? It seems a little like you get the dessert before the dinner.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't have evasion.
Odin, Odin as a summon, like he's powerful, but he's like by far the most powerful summon. I feel like to have that as chapter 2 is a bit of a misplay.
All right, you know what? As a contrast, let's go find Bahamut. I think Bahamut was a colorless.
Yuna.
Oh yeah, we do have Yuna. Let's do Yuna. So, oh geez, iPad. 3 green, white. During your turn,
makes perfect sense.
During your turn, Yuna and enchantment creatures you control have trample, lifelink, and ward 2. Ooh, in the right deck, that's going to be very powerful. And then at the beginning of your end step, return up to 1 target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. So finality means that if it leaves it goes to exile. But you get a rebuy on...
So you get 2, but then 1 goes away?
No, you get 1, but if it leaves the battlefield, it won't go back to the graveyard, it will go to exile. So you kind of get like some sort of like 1 last life. That's called like finality, is like this is the final time you can have it. But the art is beautiful. I'm sure there's many here. Oh yeah.
Wait. Is there a Titus?
Yes. Yeah, we do have 1 Titus. Oh, they got basic lands. We got 15 Sids here. Here's the Chocobo. Yeah, sorry.
Look at it.
It was on screen before, but yeah, this is the gold Chocobo. It's very pretty. And this, it will have been on screen, or it is right now. I
didn't see it yet.
The picture of what it looks like in real life. It's kind of, you know what it reminds me of was one of the face-to-face events that we were at. We saw from the first set of Lorcana. I don't know if it was in the base set or if it was like a promo card or whatever, but there was a golden Mickey Mouse. And the one that was in the cabinet that was for sale was 10,000 Canadian dollars.
Oh my God.
It was crazy, but it was what the reason I'm bringing it up is because it was gold. It was shiny. It looked like it was actually made of like gold.
So there was a point, like 2-3 years ago, when COVID was kind of a thing, so maybe it was more than 2 or 3 years ago. When Lorcana first started coming up.
It wasn't COVID era. It was after.
It was after.
God, we said that word so many times.
I know. Regardless, Tanner kept being like, yeah, like this Lorcana thing is coming out. It's like it's a Disney, basically like a Disney version of Magic the Gathering. We should invest in it. I was like, babe, you don't need any more cards.
I wasn't going to open them. I was going to put them in the closet.
I know exactly what you were going to do. And now
now that box would be
I know. Every time we go past a card shop and we see Lorcana cards, it's like, hey, look at that. You know what that could be worth right now? You know what that could be worth right now? And I'm like, yeah, nothing, because we didn't get it. Shh.
I can't find, there's the Tifa. We got a Tifa Lockhart. 1 in a green. 2 mana, 1/2, trample.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Oh, damn. Whenever a land you control enters, double Tifa's power until end of turn.
She's a power buffer for sure. For sure.
That's sick.
That's awesome.
That's super sick. All right, we got Xanarkand, Ancient Metropolis. Now, okay, hold on. I want to talk about this because there was the other one up at the top that was... This is a land. This is a land with an adventure on it as a sorcery. This is the first time I've ever seen...
Yeah, because there's like a...
Yeah, so this was like an Eldraine effect, right? Where it's like you could have a creature and then it would also have a sorcery, like an instant an adventure that was an instant or sorcery on it. These are lands that are also able to be cast as a sorcery. This is insane. These are going to be very powerful.
Wait. So this creates a 1/1 colorless hero creature token. So all of the SIDS would work with this land. Because
yes,
the SIDS interact with the heroes.
With heroes, yeah. I think the hero creature type came in with the Marvel stuff with Spider-Man.
Interesting.
But okay, so this is a green land that enters tapped. But it's a 4 red sorcery. Create a 1/1 token. Put a 1/1 counter on it for each land you control. So it's potentially if you've got 6 mana to spend, it's create a 6/6.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a land. This kind of thing. I mean, when it came out in Zendikar Rising, the modal double face lands, the MDFCs, they were incredibly powerful. I mean, I know stuff like Balaged Recovery and like Glasspool Mimic, these are like $10 cards even still now. Like they're just a creature that does a thing, but they're also a tapped land. So it's a spell and a land. And I know that there's been some busted suspend things that have happened with people making decks all out of cards that are they're just all lands and spells. So like whatever card you draw, it is either a land if you need it or a spell. Like I think these are going to be incredibly powerful. And like what Xanarkand is from Final Fantasy X, right? Yeah. These cards are going to be nuts. Jeebus. What else we got? There's there's all different colored versions of the Traveling Chocobo as well.
We were looking for the Titus. Squall. What does Squall say?
All right, let's go to Squall. Squall is 2 generic and a white and a black.
White black makes sense.
Whenever a creature,
motherfucker.
Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. That's pretty powerful. Whenever Squall deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that's like what's that card? The white. It's a 6-drop Sun Titan. Yeah, it just whenever it attacks. Oh, this is I guess combat damage trigger, so a little tougher. But it's gonna have double strike usually coming in. So yeah, Squall is from 8. Yeah, sick, great art. There's gonna be. I'm sorry, yeah, Jordan and someone in our play group. He has aspirations to collect every card in this set. Good luck. There's so many different versions. There's like 4 versions of every cool card. Good luck. It's gonna be pricey. Titus was part of... Oh, the reason we're not seeing Titus and the other cards in this is because I searched on Scryfall for the main set. Mm-hmm. So we're not seeing the commander cards.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we found Bahamut. I wanna see it's a 9 mana colorless summon, and chapter 1 and 2 is destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. It's just boom, 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 boom. Chapter 3 is draw 2 cards, and then chapter 4 Mega Flare. This creature deals damage equal to the total mana value of other permanents you control. to each opponent. Oh, and it's flying. 9/9.
Oh, by the way, it's flying.
Yeah, it's also going to smack your face left, right, and up and down and right into your spine as it's doing all of these things. This is sick. This, and it's a dragon. So we got Draco Genesis recently just came out from Tarkir Dragonstorm that says you can cast dragon spells for free.
I can put Bahamut in my dragon deck?
Yes!
Let's go!
It's going into Ur Dragon. Sick. Okay, well, we've dug into a bunch. I know, do we want to give an honorable mention here to Jumbo Cactuar?
We have to give an honorable mention to Jumbo
Yeah, Cactuar.
Wait, let me say that again. We have to give an honorable mention to Jumbo Cactuar.
Cactuar. Yeah, this card is...
It doesn't!
It does the thing. So 5 green. This card's been out for a bit.
There's no
It's got an ability called 10,000 Needles. Whenever this creature attacks, it attacks for 10,000 power until end of turn.
7 mana isn't even that much.
So it doesn't have any way to evade, right? If somebody has a 1/1 soldier, they can block it. So it doesn't have trample. It doesn't have unblockable. It doesn't have flying, right? So if it has 10,000 power and it gets blocked by a friggin' insect, it doesn't get through. So
That's so memey.
it's hilarious though.
So
like
stupid.
him and his big dumb mustache. Like, this is sick. This card is a meme, and there's going to be a lot of people that are just like, man, I just don't have any blockers. I'm just dead. Like, but then again, if you have a 28 power creature, that's the same thing, right? Like 10,000 is like so overkill, but plus 9,999, 9, 4 9s. That's just the Final Fantasy thing, and I love it. All right, we found Titus. We're going to talk about Titus. You want to read it?
He looks he's such a twink. Can I just preface this with, like, when I was in junior high, Final Fantasy X was everything and Titus was everything. And now that I'm an adult, I question. I question nothing.
Yeah, question nothing. Everything makes sense. Thanks,
Everything
Titus.
makes sense now.
I'm going to actually break your brain for a second. Waka from Final Fantasy X is voiced by the same guy
Jake?
that does Jake the dog and Bender
Let's go.
from Futurama. So you'll never hear Waka's voice the same again.
All right. I got it. Titus, Yuna's guardian. He's green. Green. He's green, white, blue. He's a legendary creature. He's a human warrior.
Don't.
I slurred once. Welcome to Rogue's Passage After Dark. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may move a counter from target creature you control onto a second target creature you control. He has cheer. That is Titus's main thing. He cheers.
Ha ha ha.
Ha 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 ha. Whenever one or more creatures you control with counters on them deal combat damage to your player, you may draw a card and proliferate. Do this only once each turn.
Yeah, so apparently this ability was templated around Titus kicking the blitzball between his fellow blitzball players, passing stuff around.
Blitzball was the dumbest fucking mechanic that any Final Fantasy has ever put into any game ever. And I will die on this hill.
I remember
if you like Blitzball, you can stop watching and unsubscribe right now.
Jeez. I remember thinking it was cool when I was pretty young, but...
Divorce. I'm filing the papers tomorrow. I don't even know who you are anymore.
But the game was cool, although it wasn't really like fun to play it in the game itself, right?
You're saying the idea of it was cool, but it was ill-constructed within the realms of the game?
As a 15-year-old...
Lay your words carefully.
Okay, I'm getting too much pushback for saying I liked this game.
I'm just kidding.
All right, yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about with this set? Because I feel like we've gone through a lot of cards. We could probably push towards a resolution.
I do want to push towards a resolution. I do just want to see through the rest of them and see if there is anything else I want to talk about.
All right.
As we were scrolling through, just trying to find things, something that was brought up through my scrollings today was the Secret Rendezvous cards that have been spoiled. I just think that's so friggin' cute because, like, paying homage to not only the OG game, but, like, even in the remake, because, like, there was a lot of questions about the remake as to, like, whether, you know, certain choices you would make would still
affect the dating game.
affect the dating sim game of it, and I really like that they're paying homage to it. Like,
Yeah, they've got multiple versions of this card to show all the arts of different interactions you can have depending on what choices you made. Like let's explain this. This is Yuffie.
I'm sorry, the
Yuffie's showing her butt.
I'm
to
sorry,
Cloud.
I did not pay close attention to the art, and we're gonna put the art for Yuffie here. I did not pay close attention to the art for Yuffie. She's not of age.
She's not of age. This is actually one thing that, especially when you were playing FF7 Rebirth, is it? Yeah, like there's like flirtation mechanics or whatever. Like, and was this in the original game as well?
Oh,
yeah. So there's like, you can essentially like do things and say things to certain characters, and essentially what it does is it gives you at this point like
look at how they have her.
so you can at a certain point it affects who you date or who you go on this date with, and like Yuffie is, I guess, an underage character, and that's one of the options. And the card that they've got for this is like her showing her butt to Cloud. Like, what are you guys doing? Square
That's
Enix?
awkward.
What are you guys doing? Anyway, cool cards and cool concept. Like the collectability of the set is going to be off the charts. I will say right now that like leading into this, before we saw anything, it was like I want to collect every card in this set. When they announced the prices, I think I'm out, man. I can't afford to collect this set. That's such a crazy thing to do.
This is the first time that I was like, like, yes, let's go ham. Let's just spend all of the money on cards. Because usually I'm like, hey, babe, like, let's keep it a little conservative. Let's just dial it back a little bit. And then this was announced. I was like, let's spend all of our money.
Yeah, but
and then
the pre-orders right now, everything is sold out. The warehouses are getting like completely rammed. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I think like it's just too much money.
If anything, wait, you said that the gold chocobos are serialized?
Yeah, those are going to be pricey. Like
define
pricey, like serialized cards. Well, that's not true. You can buy a serialized card that's not desirable for a few $100.
Define pricey.
Those chocobos are going to be probably thousands of dollars.
Worth it. At least the Cloud and the Sephiroth, man.
Good luck getting your hands on them is the crazy part. Like this set is already one of the most desirable things that Magic has ever done. I actually reached out to a contact that I know that usually sells like foil uncut sheets, and I was like, put my name on the list, please. If you get a foil mythic sheet or whatever of Final Fantasy, I am a buyer. Let me know. And I'm kind of actually like dreading getting that message and a potential price tag, because I don't know if it's gonna be worth it. I would love to have that on the wall back here in the studio, but that's gonna be like the price of a car.
Yeah. Priorities.
Anyway, that's our Final Fantasy rant. I know we're recording on Saturday night. This is probably gonna come out the next Sunday. So like throughout the week, I'm sure there's gonna be even more cards spoiled, and it's Final Fantasy time. It's the middle of June that the set's coming out.
Yeah.
So, God, can I? Oh man.
No, you can't.
No,
not allowed.
I want to go to multiple pre-releases for this, because there's certain collectible things that you only get from going to the pre-releases, like specific. I think like life counters or dice or something they're like really, really sweet, like Final Fantasy stuff, and you can only get them if you go to the pre-releases. Mm-hmm. You got the kid that weekend. I'm going to play Magic.
You is.
And on that note, I think we're gonna go to bed.
Well, I'm a plug.
You're gonna plug what?
I'm a plug. Well, I mean, we are sitting on some Woo Burger stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, we are basically at the point of completion. It is coming.
Yeah, that is a Magic the Gathering cooking show that we've been filming. We have 2 episodes essentially in the bank. We're just trying to figure out how we want to launch this project.
Yes. If you're interested, drop a comment down below. Smash that like button.
Oh, yeah.
Smash that subscribe. Am I a YouTuber yet?
Well, also, actually, you told me earlier, I was showing you the merch site, and you were like, you guys have a merch site?
Oh, yeah. By the way, they have a merch site that I honestly didn't even know about. This project has been going on for what?
This is 2 years in
2 years
June.
now. I didn't even know that they had a merch site. Tanner pulled it up, and I was like, "Hey, you should probably talk about your merch site."
We have a merch site. It's in if you find it, every description of every video has the link tree little link, and it shows all of our links, all of our socials.
And what can you do on the merch site with your merchandise?
You can find the merch site. You can go there. You can get any article of clothing that you would wish to put our logo on. You can resize the logo. You can adjust. We're working on adding some more designs that you can put on. You can essentially customize however you want that thing to look before you order.
There's a customize tab at the top.
Yeah, hit the customize tab.
They got aprons. They got hats. They got shirts.
Hoodies.
They got mugs, coffee mugs. They got hoodies. Yeah, whatever you want. If there's something that you would like to see on the merch site, let them know.
Yeah,
they'll do it. They'll do it. Do you want a tiny little chocobo with a tiny little chocobo shirt? Do you want baby onesies with Rogue's Passage on it?
Get your little Hitachi with
Get your little Hitachi. You want your Tamagotchi to wear a Rogue's Passage T-shirt? Drop a message.
That and
slip in the DMs.
Coming very soon, June 8th, we're doing a live stream here in the studio all day. We're gonna do 8 to 10 hours. We're gonna do a bunch of fun stuff. It's going to be our 2-year anniversary. If you want to drop by the chat, we'll be on Twitch and YouTube all day and doing fun stuff and celebrating 2 years of the Rogue's Passage. Thank you, everybody. Anybody who's watching now, if you're hearing this, you are the real ones. You are our absolute fans. And we really appreciate you. 3 fingers. Absolutely love you guys. Thank you so much for putting up with our bullshit, especially tonight. This was like, we were half in our cups and we were like, let's do it.
We might be a little shitty. Thank you for joining us for Rogue's Passage After Dark. Might have slurred a couple times, but yes. It's fine.
Thank you. Rufus here is going to point his... Oh, no, I guess it's YouTube. I can't point a firearm in disrespectfully. But thank you for coming and watching this episode of the Rogue's Passage. If you have the money, go buy some Final Fantasy. Go to face-to-face games. I wish we had a promo code, but we're working on that. But
face-to-face community.
Yeah, please, we love you
please
so much.
Sponsor me.
But thank you for coming. I say it again. We will see you next time on the Rogue's Passage podcast. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, Callie, for stepping in with me. See you later. Bye.
Get my finger into it.
Cough. Hi, YouTube.